Hey guys, welcome. If you're here, go ahead and write something in the chat so we know that you're here with us tonight. And we will get going in just a moment. Lee's going to do some adjustments, some pictures, make sure that we can see what's going on. All right, so Danny's here. Good to know that that you're here, Dan. I like you. Good job. You're not quite a sixth grader yet, but someday. I mean, pretty like soon. Tomorrow? I don't know. When's the last day of school?
I think we have another week.
Another week? Like
supposedly.
A whole week?
Allegedly.
Allegedly. There might be another week. That is what the rumor is. So YouTube tells me that there are 5 people watching. If you're watching, put something in the chat. Even if you don't write anything else in the chat for the rest of the night, just say, hi. That way, I'll know you're there. And I can just kind of know, oh, somebody left. That was only 3 people. Somebody was like, oh, no. If I've got to announce my presence, I'm leaving.
Danny said there is no more school.
Danny's a liar. Or this is wishful thinking. Something, I'm not certain. Oh, Molly's here. Hey, Molly. I'm glad that you're joining us tonight. I think what we'll do is we'll kind of hang out. And at 6:05, we'll start the event and just kind of let you know what we're doing tonight. That way people have a chance to get on and join us. Other than that, we're going to sit here and awkwardly talk and ramble.
I'm going to tell you jokes.
I am?
Tell us your favorite joke.
My favorite joke?
Suddenly he's never heard any jokes.
No, I heard that joke the other day. It's just really long and I'm afraid I'm going to butcher it. And then somebody's going to come on. They're going to be like, I heard half a joke. That wasn't funny. I'm going to save my favorite joke for when I can actually see people live and like be with them and like be friends. You tell them a joke. What's your favorite joke?
My favorite joke is I was reading the thesaurus the other day because the mind is a terrible thing to garbage.
That is a stupid joke.
That's my favorite.
There's a YouTube channel for youth group games, and their jingle is youth group games we really love to do. Now they're on the internet, so you can do them also. And it drives me crazy because it's supposed to rhyme all of the time. But it never rhymes, and that is sad.
But it's catchy because you hate it.
It is. It might be more memorable because it's more frustrating. I'm not entirely certain. I've got 6:03 in the clock, 2 more minutes, and we're going to get started in the activity. Leah, why don't you send a reminder? Just remind people of what's happening and send out the link again. That way people know what's happening, just in case.
Well, Guardian remind.
Yeah, I sent it out earlier, but just sometimes people are like, I'm going to do that at 6 o'clock, but let me cook dinner first. And then they cook dinner, and
I think you're talking about Allie.
I'm not calling anybody up by name. Sometimes people cook dinner and lose track of time. It happens to the best of us. So if it's happened to you, you're the best of us. That's what I'm saying, right?
I'd argue that the people that remember are the best of us.
It's possible. That's not a bad argument. (6:04). If you're just joining us, we're gonna start kind of the explaining the evening at in about 5 minutes. Or excuse me, at 6:05 in about 1 minute. Excuse me. All right, I'm gonna see if I can't figure out how to do this real quick. Oh, where's my cursor? This whole multiple screen thing is hard because I always lose my cursor. I can't find it. Okay. Hold tight.
Welcome, y'all.
Almost there. Working on it. Let's see. There we go. Okay. Almost there. Oh, what was that? I didn't mean to do that. I like zoomed in. I don't know how to unzoom.
This isn't even Zoom.
Oh, stop it. You're being ridiculous. All right, Leah, distract them for a moment.
I'm not even on the screen. I don't know.
Do it anyway.
Well, I first thought as I was going to show them my baby belly, but they can't see me, so I can't.
I don't want to hide things. My goodness.
I don't know. I ate a Wendy's salad at a rest stop today.
Fixed it. Hey, Val, I just saw that you're on because I can see the chat now. So, all right. So I'm going to have to do things this way. There we go. All right. So tonight we are playing a game called What's Behind the Mask. And what's behind the mask is very simple. We're going to show you a picture of someone or something that is behind a mask. You then have to tell us what is behind the mask. There's multiple choice. There are 3 options for each one. The more you get right, the more points you have. The less you get right, the less points you have. That's how games work. And at the end, we'll know who the winner is, or at least we'll know, you know, I might not know who the winner is. Hey, Reagan. Well, I am teaching here in a little while.
I will make a good attempt.
All right, so I'm going to try this thing. So my pen is supposed to progress slides. Let's see if it works. Hey, it did.
Progress.
All right. Hey, what is the status of Chris Pratt's mouth behind this mask? Is it A, is his mouth closed, A, B, open, or C, open with the tongue out? This is Chris Pratt. Is he A, have his mouth open, B, have his mouth, excuse me, A, have his mouth closed, B, have his mouth open, or C, have it open with the tongue out? All right.
Helpful with the visuals.
Yeah, Lee did some visuals. She opens and closes her mouth sometimes. Valerie says, that Allie says, see, one time when I was in my master's program, I took a final exam and I had to download a special browser so that I couldn't open any programs but the test. And then every answer on the test was A. And it was so frustrating. And I think it might have been part of a social experiment. Either way, here is the answer. It is closed. Look how serious he is. He's all just like.
Did everyone write A?
No, Tim said B and Allie said C. Are you going to do that from there? Because that seems like that's going to be really hard. All right, here we go. Number 2. Which Chris will you find behind this mask? Hat is added to make it a little tougher. Is that Chris Evans, Chris Hemsworth, or Chris Pine? A, Chris Evans, B, Chris Hemsworth, or C, Chris Pine? You tell us who that is. I know who it's not. It's not Chris Christopherson.
I don't think it's Chris Kringle.
I can think of no other famous Chris's.
Chris. Yes.
Can think of no other Chris's. That's all right. So what do you think? I got people coming in. Some people saying A, some people saying B. See, I don't even know who Chris Evans is. And I think I know who the other 2 are. Is Chris Hemsworth, is that Thor, or is that another Hemsworth? No, Chris Hemsworth. I don't know. All right, here we go. Your answer is Chris Pine. Chris Pine. That is James T. Kirk himself, if you watch any of the new Star Trek films. Hey, that's me. Leah's all like, hey, let me play feedback noises. All right, coming up next. What we find Kanye doing behind this mask? Is he A, snarling, B, straight-faced, or C, smiling? Kanye West doing his Kanye best. Is he going to snarl, be straight-faced, or smile? Got answers rolling in.
Real quick, what was the answer to the last one?
I don't know. I'm doing this on live, remember? I can't edit this out later.
Well, I can't figure it out if I don't know the answer.
All right, here we go. So the answer for this one is Kanye is straight-faced. Kanye, straight-faced Kanye. All right, how about this one? What will we find Lady Gaga doing behind this mask? Is she puckering? Is she gasping? Or is she smirking? Pucker, grasp, or smirk? There used to be a commercial where there's an argument between a husband and a wife of whether you could wear a smirk. There's a stupid commercial, some sort of a video game, or some sort of a board game.
I feel like a smock.
No, the smock is different. James T. Quirk. No, that's different. Never mind. All right, smirk. James T. Smirk, I meant to say. All right, here we go. Answer is puckering. She's all like, hopefully she's not kissing anybody, or this is an old picture, and that way we'll know that, she's safely distancing herself socially, so she's not, kissing anyone. Here we go. What is the status of Jennifer Lawrence's mouth behind this mask? Is it A, closed, B, open, or C, open with the tongue out? She open, closed, or open with the tongue out? What do you think, Leah? Have you seen these? You haven't seen these.
I have not seen these now.
What do you think the answer is?
I'm going to go with open.
Leah says open. All right. Give you a couple more seconds to answer. I'm not sure how quickly people are getting their stuff in. Hey, if you are watching, I know that I've seen that number tick up a little bit. If you're watching, throw a message in the chat just so we know you're here, even if you're not going to play the game, even if you just want to hang up, just let us know that you're here. And the answer to this one is Jennifer Lawrence has her mouth open with the tongue out. She's goofy. Like that's not a surprise. She does all kinds of weird stuff.
Her eyes did not give me the impression that she was being super goofy.
No, but I think she's always being super goofy, right. Except for when she's like killing the people from District A or District 1 or I don't know, something. She's all like.
When she's killing.
All right, guys. So what will we discover? What will we discover on Brad Pitt's face when we remove his mask? Is he clean shaven? Does he have a beard? Or does he have a mustache? Clean shaven, beard, or mustache? Personally, if he's clean shaven, I'll be very disappointed in Brad Pitt. I will tell him personally the next time I see him. Do you know how often I see Brad Pitt?
No.
But every time I watch a Brad Pitt movie. That's not my favorite joke, just so you know, because it was pretty lame. All right. Hey, full disclosure here. Danny, who's playing, my son Daniel, he has not seen this. He doesn't know any of the answers. We're not cheating.
We're not even in the same location.
It's true. He's at our house, and I'm in an undisclosed location for the safety of all people, all parties.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone.
Molly's babysitting from 2 houses away.
You shouldn't say that live on the internet.
Why?
I don't know. It sounds unsafe. All right. So he has a mustache. That just a mustache look is strange. Some guys can pull it off. I don't think he's one of them. I'm not one of them.
No.
Sometimes
like another eyebrow.
There's like one picture of me with just a mustache from that time that I shaved off my beard to be funny and then had a mustache so I didn't look like Hulk Hogan anymore. How many teeth will this kid be missing when we remove the mask? 1, 2, or 4? Tim Benjamin verifies we aren't together. And if you don't trust your pastor, who can you trust? Jesus. The answer is Jesus, even if you have an untrustworthy pastor. Which I don't. Tim Benjamin is the most trustworthy person I know. I proudly have called myself a Benjamite on more than one occasion, which is different than Vegemite. That's an Australian snack food. Reagan wants us to know that was a very Parker statement. Which way? The way, like the full disclosure, or the Benjamite, or the Vegemite?
Anything about Tim Benjamin and Jesus.
2 teeth. Missing 2 teeth. Just like our son Joey soon. He lost one and the other one's real loose. It's real loose. Joined the ranks of the tooth losers, which is different than the regular losers. What type of mouth does this emoji have behind the mask? Straight-faced, half-round, no mouth. Do they even have a no-mouth emoji? I've never seen that.
They do.
Oh, all right, Reagan. I agree with you.
What?
She says, if you can't trust your pastor, who can you trust? I gotcha.
Jesus?
I already said that, remember?
Then why did she ask?
No, she was quoting, telling me which statement. She was reminding me of what I said. All right, Andrew's rolling in. Give it 3-4 more seconds. All right, and the answer is, what'd you say, Leah?
I'm going to say no mouth.
Leah says no mouth. She's right.
I win.
That emoji has no mouth. If you had no mouth and emojis don't have noses, how do emojis breathe? I'm really concerned with this emoji. It has no mouth or nose. Pull off the dog's mask. And what will you find in his mouth? A biscuit, a bird, or a pacifier? I hope it's a bird.
That was a pacifier. I bet we'll find pacifiers in our dog's mouth soon enough.
Oh my goodness, that dog is going to eat so many pacifiers. Hey, Leah, what color are the pacifiers going to be?
Did you know?
No, I didn't. That didn't happen.
Probably going to have some yellow pacifiers.
Yeah, maybe some orange pacifiers.
Some orange ones. A few purple. And some pink.
Some pink pacifiers. This baby is already disappointment. Just kidding. It's a joke.
I think everyone on already knows. Or everyone who is
yeah, I know. Anyway, but the answer to this dog and what it has in its mouth is a pacifier.
Yay.
That's a cute pacifier dog. I think my dog would just like chew them. He won't like suck on it like that.
He'll throw them up and roll on them first.
Oh yeah, absolutely. What is the missing condiment, or what is the missing topping behind the mask of this deluxe cheeseburger? So a deluxe cheeseburger has a certain amount of things on it. Is it missing its mayonnaise, its bacon, or its onion?
I could go for a deluxe cheeseburger.
I could go with a burger without mayonnaise because mayonnaise belongs nowhere near a hamburger.
You already had a deluxe cheeseburger today.
No, I didn't. I had a Dave's triple with no bun, mayonnaise on the side. So take that. Captain wrong all the time.
I had a salad.
How about a salad? Deluxe cheeseburger is missing something. Tim says it's onion. Valerie says it's bacon. Molly says it's mayonnaise. Who's right? The answer is bacon.
That is missing. What a disappointment.
It is a disappointment. Remember that movie, The Disappointments Room? It was a disappointment. Ooh, the color changed. All right. Remove the mask. And what kind of expression will Taylor Swift have? A smile, or frown, or a straight face? Taylor Swift, a smile, a frown, or a straight face? Can you read her eyes? Are her eyes smiling? Are her eyes frowning? Are her eyes straight facing? Facing straight? Are her eyes giving you the impression that she is straight faced? She is. The answer is straight face. She's all like, no smile. Yeah, she's doing a little bit of a smile almost. Like you can tell she's happy. That's weird.
Smizing.
She doesn't always frown, Tim. I don't think that's true. Pop star or actress? Is this Katy Perry or Zooey Deschanel? Notoriously look alike. Oh. Katy Perry or Zooey Deschanel?
It's a tough one.
I don't know what Katy Perry looks like.
Like Zooey Deschanel.
I know what Zoe Deschanel looks like, so that's helpful because Zoe Deschanel looks like the girl from that movie with Elf.
Katy Perry has short blonde hair now, so it's helpful.
Oh, but maybe this is an old picture.
But right, exactly.
Isn't that weird? All right, Allie says B, and it is Zoe Deschanel. That one was a gimme. I feel like it was easy. I think it looked like Zoe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Katy Perry doesn't usually do bangs either.
Oh, is that a thing? I'd never looked at any person and thought, oh, they have bangs, or that they don't have bangs. Remove the mask, and where will you find Steph Curry's mouth guard? Side of his mouth, on his teeth, no mouth guard at all. Steph Curry, is it side of his mouth, on his teeth, no mouth guard at all? What do you think, Leah?
I saw this one in the preview of the game.
Oh, Leah, she's so honorable. Like she could have just tried to throw you off the scent, or she could have answered honestly, just look smart, and said she was like, I've already seen this one, and I've got too much integrity.
Honestly,
for that.
I think he should not take his mask off.
I mean, if he's playing basketball, he's probably really close to people. All right, here we go. Answer is side of his mouth. What a weird way to wear a mouth guard. That wouldn't protect his teeth at all.
I don't think so. It's kind of like when you wear your mask below your nose.
So many people I saw today, they were like, "Oh, look, I'll just wear this mask to here because I breathe through my mouth all the time."
Mouth breathers.
What type of piercing will you find under this mask? A lip, a nose, or a tongue? Did you have her lip pierced, or nose pierced, or her tongue pierced? I used to want my tongue pierced back when that was like a thing in the 90s, and my mom threatened to do unspeakable things to me if I ever did it. But then she let me get so many piercings in my ears. She was like, don't forget, they're 2 for $7 at the piercing pagoda. And I was like, 2 for $7? Let's go to the piercing pagoda. That's why I've got 13 ear piercings. Thanks, Brenda.
Was that at Universal Mall?
Oh, absolutely. The piercing pagoda at Universal Mall.
You should walk there.
And then see a movie for $1.50.
Oh, those were the days.
Those were the days. Like Archie Bunker sings about. It's a nose. It's a nose. It's a septum piercing. Even, I think noses is misleading. It's like a wedding ring in her septum. So that's neat.
I was thinking it looks like a crown.
All right. Remove the mask, and what is on the Rock's face? A beard? Is he clean, or does he have a goatee? Again, if he's clean shaven, I'm going to have words with the Rock next time I see him. I'll watch Jumanji and just let him have it.
He's often clean shaven, isn't
he? Yeah, probably. But he used to have a weird haircut and wear a fanny pack. We've had this conversation. Google it.
Everyone?
Google it. You won't be sorry. Google The Rock fanny pack. Then Google Chris Tuck. No, who's the who's the little guy from Jumanji?
Shoot, what's his name?
Hart. Hart.
Oh yeah, Kevin.
Kevin Hart. Yeah. And then Google Kevin Hart imitating The Rock fanny pack, and it's even better. All right, I've given you enough fun facts of the day. The answer here is a goatee.
Weird.
He's a goatee. He looks like a Polynesian Stone Cold Steve Austin, if anyone knows what I'm talking about. Thanks, Allie. Allie told me it was Kevin Hart. All right, got a couple more. What does Ed Sheeran have behind this mask? Lipstick, a clown nose, or a lollipop?
I really hope it's a clown nose.
I hope he represents the Lollipop Guild and does this. Like the Lollipop Guild. They're not in the Wizard of Oz book, and it makes me sad. I just don't remember them.
The Lollipop Guild?
Yeah, the Lollipop Guild are not in. At least not that I remember. I'm reading it again, and I don't see them so far. All right, here we go. A few more seconds here, and the answer is he has a clown nose.
Why?
Because he's Patch Adams. I don't know. why he has a clown nose.
I'm not sure if he really had that on.
What is the emotion behind this mask on this emoji? Sad, indifferent, or happy? Sad, indifferent, or happy. What is this emoji feeling?
I think those look like sad eyes. You with the sad eyes. Don't be discouraged. Trolls.
I was trying to think of mystery men. Eyes, eyes, eyes. Red eyes. There you go. Red eyes, red eyes, red eyes. Didn't expect to see you here, so
There's a movie you
Spoon.
should watch.
I don't know if I can endorse that one publicly. I think I can, though.
I think
I
so.
think I can. I think I can. I think I
I was
can.
allowed to watch it when I was in junior high, so probably.
So it's probably rated G.
It's probably okay.
I hope my in-laws aren't watching, which would be funny because today's about in-laws. Like we're talking about Moses' father-in-law, Jethro.
It's not even father-in-law's day.
I don't think that exists. Look at that happy emoji. It's a happy emoji. He's all like, what is the color of the macaroon that is about to be unmasked? Who masks their macaroon? Is it a mascaroon? Is it pink, yellow, or blue? A pink, B yellow, C blue.
The masquerades are going to become very big here in the near future.
Don't masquerades have only eye masks though?
Yeah, it's going to be like an opposite masquerade.
Oh. But everyone
Inverted?
is gonna be able to pass for Spider-Man soon. There's like, oh, we're Spider-Man. No, he's the one in the mask. Oh, that's helpful. Thanks.
I'll have to put the answer down, but I don't know if it's actually okay.
All right. Leah thinks she knows the answer. What do you think it is?
I think it's A.
Leah thinks it's a pink macaroon.
That second one might be pink. Might be yellow. I don't know. Go for it. It is pink.
It is. I mean, that is like extreme pink. That's like
too pink.
That's like artificially pink. Nothing in nature is that pink. Even like the pinkest flower.
What about flamingos?
Flamingos aren't that pink, and flamingos
That's
aren't
true.
even pink. Shrimp are pink, and flamingos eat shrimp. Flamingos are white. Surprised you didn't know that. What are you going to see on the mug of this pug? Tongue out? A smile? Or a snarl? So I'm reading all of these backwards because I couldn't get it on my screen, and I read it as slime, and I was like, I don't remember there being slime on a dog's face. I mean, my dog sometimes has like a slimy face because he's like a slobbery mess. Winston, the greatest dog in history with a slobbery mess. You love him.
Winston is a dog in history. That is true.
He's the greatest dog in history.
I like him from like 8 to 11 o'clock at night.
Why? What happens from 8 to 11 o'clock at night?
That's when he lays on the couch with me and sleeps.
Oh. He's on Danny's lap right now.
That's what JD said.
Tongue out. Licking his nose. I wish I could do that.
Gross.
I can't.
Me neither.
I cannot lick my own nose. I think this is the last one. What are you going to see on the mug of this llama? A pucker, teeth, or a smile?
Llama, llama, Valentine.
Llama, llama, red pajama.
I only know the Valentine one.
Oh. Llama, llama, Mrs. Mama. One time Lee went to a llama farm, or was it an alpaca farm? It was the same thing.
No, it was alpacas.
That alpaca. She got me a pair of alpaca socks. They're super comfortable, and they're always dry and warm and delightful. And I hike in them. I wear them under my boots.
Because wearing them over your boots would be weird.
You are the worst person I know. All right, here we go, guys. The answer is teeth. That llama that's a strange looking thing the llama's doing. You know, like it's like
You're so cute.
it's like when your top lip gets too dry and all of a sudden like you just kind of find like your lip like folds and you're like, but like involuntarily. And that was the end of the game. That was the end of the game. So Leah's gonna. Have you already been tabulating? Do you know who the winner is?
No,
or?
I just had to get the answers so I could.
I see. I thought you were trying to tabulate, and it seemed like it would have been awfully frustrating. All right, I'm gonna take Leah off screen because she thinks it's awkward to sit there while I teach, and I think it's rude that she rolls her eyes at everything I say. So she doesn't really say that. All right, I'm gonna take a drink of this pink juice. There's no juice in that. That is pink Kool-Aid. I don't know. All right, guys. So tonight we are going to talk about Jethro. Jethro is one of my favorite people from Scripture. He is not very well known. He only shows up a couple of times by name. He only has like 2 or 3 spots where he actually does anything or is even present. But in Exodus 18, he's present, and he has a big impact on Israel at that time, and he's a big impact on my life. And so I'm going to tell you about him tonight. So he is the priest in a land called Midian, and he has 7 daughters, which is 7 too many daughters. That's not true, but that's a lot of daughters, right? And so before I can tell you too much about him, and jump into Exodus 18, I want to give you some backstory. All right. So I'm going to give you backstory about a man named Moses. Now, Moses is pretty well known. Most of you probably know him. So just briefly, Moses is an Israelite raised as Egyptian royalty. He gets angry when he sees an Egyptian soldier mistreat a Israelite slave, and he kills the Egyptian. Excuse me. He sees an Egyptian soldier kill an Israelite or mistreat an Israelite slave, and then he kills that Egyptian. He gets scared and he runs away, and he's kind of fearing for his life, and he's on the run. And while he's on the run, he comes upon a well in the land of Midian, and there are 7 women. The 7 women I mentioned earlier, right? The daughters of Jethro the priest. There are 7 women, and they're trying to water their flocks, but some male shepherds come up and they chase them away, and they won't let them use the well. Moses cannot let the injustice stand. He intervenes. He defends the women. He kind of runs off the male shepherds, and then he draws the water and helps these girls water their flocks. The girls go home, and their father goes, "Why are you back so early?" And they tell him what happened, and says, "Well, why haven't you invited him to dinner?" So these girls go out, they find Moses, they bring him to dinner, and it turns out that protecting a girl from a group of jerks and being a super hard worker and a generous guy are a great way to make a dad like you, because Moses settles with the people in Midian. They're with Jethro's family, and he marries Jethro's daughter Zipporah, making Jethro Moses' father-in-law. So Moses is there, and he comes to respect his father-in-law. And when he sees the burning bush and God calls him to go free the people of Israel from Egypt, he goes and gets permission from Jethro, and Jethro gives him his blessing. So Moses goes to Egypt. The 10 plagues happen, the Passover, the Israelites leave Egypt. They're kind of moving through kind of the desert. About 2 months go by, and they settle at the base of Mount Sinai. And Moses' father-in-law pays Moses a visit, and that's where we kind of pick up the story in Exodus 18. So Moses goes out to greet his father-in-law, and he bows low, which is a sign of respect, and he greets him. They go back to Moses' tent, and Moses tells Jethro all of the things that have happened. He talks about his meetings with Pharaoh, the plagues, the Passover, the crossing the Red Sea, God's provision of manna and quail. And so Jethro declares, "Praise the Lord, for he has rescued you from the Egyptians and from Pharaoh. Yes, he has rescued Israel from the powerful hand of Egypt. I know now that the Lord is greater than all other gods, because he rescued his people from the oppression of the proud Egyptians." Right? So Jethro praises God. And so Jethro offers a burnt offering to God, and Moses and some of the other kind of higher ups in Israel join him for that. So the next day, Moses goes out and he sits to hear all of the arguments and the grievances from the people of Israel. It takes Moses all day, from early in the morning till late at night, to rule on every dispute that the people of Israel have. And Jethro sees this and he immediately notices this is a problem. And he asks Moses some questions. He says, "What are you even accomplishing here? Why are you doing this alone? It takes all day while everyone stands around you." And Moses says, "Well, the people come to me for a ruling from God. When there's a dispute, they come to me, and I'm the one who settles the case between the quarreling parties. I inform the people of God's decrees, and I give them instructions." And Jethro says something that I think is just profound here. He says, "This is not good. You are going to burn yourself out. This is too big a job for just one man." He says, "Let me give you some advice. Keep being the people's representative before God. Take their disputes to God. Teach them God's decrees. Give the people God's instructions. Show them how to properly live their lives in dedication to the Lord. But you have got to get yourself some help. Find some honest and capable leaders and appoint them to lead groups of people, groups of 50, groups of 100, groups of 1,000, right? The people can bring the big cases to you, but let these other officials that you choose, let them deal with these smaller matters. So they're going to help you carry the load. They're going to make the task more bearable for you. And if you follow this advice, and if God commands it, then you'll be able to endure the pressures, and all these people can go home in peace. Moses takes Jethro's advice and he chooses some leaders, placing them over small groups of people, and he lets them deal with the small stuff, and Moses takes care of the big stuff when he needs to be involved. And then Jethro goes back home to Midian. And that's like the last time we see Jethro. There's one other time where he kind of shows up briefly, maybe. But that's kind of the end of Jethro's story. So I love Jethro. I love what he brings to the story, right? But so a couple of big things happen here. First, Jethro is a priest in Midian, and we don't know what god or gods he worshipped. We know he was a priest, but we don't know what faith, right? I know some people smarter than me have debated whether he was already a follower of Yahweh or whether he was it was not, and no one really knows. But here's the thing: I don't think that matters, because the way that I read it, no matter who Jethro worships, this is a conversion, right? This is a man who, hearing the good news of what God has done, he proclaims a newfound faith when he says, "I know the Lord is greater than all other gods," right? I now know the Lord is greater than all other gods. So Jethro sees and hears what the Lord has done, and he declares faith in the Lord. Now, the second thing that happens is that a respected elder notices something troubling and offers wise counsel to a younger person. This is the part of the story that I love, the part of the story that brings me back to Jethro time and time again. And so what can we learn from Jethro and kind of those two things that'll happen, right? I think that the first thing that we learn from Jethro, I think the first thing that we learn is from Moses, and he teaches us how important it is to declare what the Lord has done. He told Jethro all about God's deliverance of Israel from the hand of Egypt. I think that Jethro teaches us to listen, to not take it for granted when someone talks about God's activity in their life. I think we also learn that people can be changed by the power of God, that while many of us are stubborn and stuck on our ways and set in our beliefs, that God can bring even the priest of Midian, the priest of a different faith, most likely, to faith in himself, right? So we learn that we declare what the Lord has done, and we learn that we listen to what the Lord has done, and we believe, and that everyone can be called to the Lord regardless of kind of what they currently believe. But the second thing that happens here, I think, is humongous. Jethro sees this troubling thing happen. He sees his son-in-law burning himself out and listening to the disputes of the people. He sees the people waiting all day. It's hot. It's the desert. They're probably getting frustrated with the length of their wait, right? And so what is the first thing he does? He asks questions. He doesn't just march in there and start spouting off his own opinion. He asks, what are you even accomplishing? Why are you doing it this way? Why are you taking on this enormous task all by yourself? He gives Moses a chance to explain. And he listens when Moses explains what he is doing and why he's doing it. And finally, Jethro shares an opinion. Right? He says, this is too big a job for just one person. You're going to get burned out. You need to get some help. So Moses follows the advice, right? Excuse me, followed by advice, right? So he offers his opinion, followed by his advice. He says, find some people you trust, delegate the job, keep doing the parts that you need to do, but let other people help you carry the load. And then he defers to God, right? So he asks questions, he listens, states an opinion, states the advice, then defers to God. He says, if you do this, God will direct you and you'll be able to endure, right? Now, I don't think just anybody could have given Moses this advice. I think Jethro had a special place of authority with Moses. He had earned the right to speak into Moses' life. He had earned this right to correct Moses. I think that if some random guy walks up to Moses and he says, hey man, what you're doing is no good, do it differently, Moses is much less likely to follow that advice or to respect it, right? Jethro had earned that right. I also think that Jethro's words and actions are super important here. Had Jethro walked in and said, nope, you're doing it wrong, without first asking those questions and seeking to understand why Moses was doing what he was doing, he might not have been so well received, right? Had he told Moses about the problem without also offering some sort of a solution or an opinion, then he might not have been well received. Guys, it might come as no surprise, but I hate being corrected. I hate getting unsolicited advice, especially when it comes from someone who I don't know or I don't have the kind of relationship with where they can openly correct me. I can't stand when someone comes to me with a problem and tells me a problem without some sort of solution. Right? I once, years ago, I preached a sermon on a Sunday morning, and then the next week, someone handed me a slip of paper with 25 Bible verses written on it. This person clearly had taken an issue with something that I had said in my sermon, but to this day, I don't know what their problem was. They didn't ask to sit down with me. They didn't ask me questions about my sermon. They didn't explain what I had said, or they didn't explain what I said and where my understanding of Scripture might have been taken out of context or mistaken. Instead, they gave me a piece of paper to communicate that I had, in their opinion, missed some sort of mark. This person was not someone who I had a deep connection with. They were not a trusted friend. They weren't a wise mentor. They were not someone that I knew more than just having a few casual conversations with in the past, and we didn't have any important connection. Like, needless to say, I didn't learn whatever they wanted me to learn, and I didn't seek out their, further advice from them. Right? They hadn't had that they didn't have that position in my life. So what can we learn from this, right? Well, what can we learn? First, listen before you speak. Guys, there is more than one way to skin a cat. I don't know who skins cats or why they're skinning cats, but there's more than one way to do it. Just because someone does something differently than you doesn't mean that they're doing it wrong, right? Don't correct somebody unnecessarily. Don't correct somebody incorrectly, right? So listen before you speak. Next, be teachable. Moses doesn't get defensive. He doesn't argue. He doesn't insist that his way is best. He explains, he answers questions, he listens, and then he makes some changes because Jethro offered him some really good solutions, right? He listened and followed the advice of someone he respected. When someone offers you guidance, consider what they're saying. Be teachable. Next, I'm going to say you need to know your relationship with the person that you're talking to and act accordingly, right? Not everyone has earned the right to speak into your life, and you have not earned the right to speak into everyone else's life, right? Not everyone is going to respect your opinion, and they don't have to, right? Sometimes a correction or unsolicited advice, it can do more harm than good, right? If you don't have that kind of relationship with somebody, unless there is some sort of danger, it's not always a good idea to go and correct, right? But finally, this is what I want you to hear tonight, guys. This is my big takeaway, the thing that Jethro taught me, right? Have someone, at least one person in your life who can speak truth to you. Someone who can speak truth into your life. Have someone who you respect enough to listen when they offer advice. Someone who can and will look at you and say, what you are doing is not good. Someone you can go to for guidance. Someone who you would consider to be wise counsel. Right? I have at least 3 people who I can go to with a personal struggle. Someone who, when I have a decision to make, I can call or text or email and say, hey, I need some counsel, right? I have even more people that I can talk to professionally, right? So if I have a professional decision, that's different than I have a personal decision, right? Different people have different realms and roles that they're in, but have these people that you can go to, whether you want to call it, a mentor or a teacher or a counselor or a guide, right? Someone who you can go to and say, I need help. Someone who can say, what you're doing is not good. Guys, I'm going to close with the words of Proverbs 12:15. Where King Solomon, in all of his wisdom, he says, the way of the fool is right in his own eyes, but a wise man listens to advice. So listen to advice and don't be foolish. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, thanks so much for Jethro. Thanks for a chance to see his story, see where he impacts Moses, where he impacts Israel, as what he suggests to Moses gets passed down for generations. Lord, thank you for the wise people you've placed into my life. Thank you for the position you've given me where hopefully I've been able to offer that wisdom into other people's lives. Lord, help us to listen and to ask questions and to understand before we correct. Lord, help us to proclaim and declare your majesty and your goodness, and help us to be open and not to roll our eyes or take for granted when you act in someone's life. Lord, thank you for who you are and all that you do for us. In Jesus' name, amen. So, hey, Leah, welcome back. What did you find out? Who's our winner?
So we have a tie with 7 points.
Okay.
The tie goes to Molly and Danny.
Molly and Danny, all right. Way to represent that street,
That's
Molly
right.
and Danny. So,
Beale Avenue.
Well, I wasn't going to say it. Everyone knows where we live. Ugh, man, privacy.
Everyone knows where we live anyway.
Not the strangers that are watching. So, Molly and Danny, you guys will get a prize here in the next day or so. It'll be super easy to deliver. I might just throw it from my front porch and land it on your bed, or in your front yard, depending on if you're my son or my neighbor. And hey, a couple more announcements. We are still doing drive-in church on Sunday mornings. We've got 10:45 here at church, drive-in church. Leah and the band are playing music. Tim's preaching. We got at least 1 or 2 more on Ruth. I'm not sure. Tim, if you see this or hear me, tell me how many more sermons we have on Ruth. But so yeah, as long as the weather's working, we are doing that. And
if it doesn't, we'll be in here live.
Yeah. So just keep an eye on that to know what's going on. The 8:00 live stream is still happening. They should be wrapping up. I think the story of Joseph here shortly, and then I think there's going to be a special worship event here pretty soon. I'm not sure if that's public or not, or if I just let the cat out of the bag. I'm not going to skin the cat. Don't worry. So yeah, and then if you've got any more people you want to talk about, let me know, and I'd be happy to do some more of these kind of portraits. Otherwise, I will probably move it on to something here next week.
Tim Benjamin. That's my request.
Tim Benjamin is not a biblical character. Tim
He
Benjamin.
seems pretty in tune.
Tim Benjamin portrait of a vegetarian mud runner, is what I would call it, and he would run through the mud eating tacos without meat on a Tuesday. Well, that's all for me tonight, guys. If you want to jump on, with Tim tonight at 8, whether you've been a part of that study or not so far, I think you'll love it and get something out of that. And we will hopefully see you next week. If we can do anything, let us know. We miss you guys, and we can't wait until we can meet again face to face.
And we're so bored without you.
We are so bored without you guys. I don't know if you're rolling your eyes or laughing at my jokes, and I just have to assume that I'm the most funny person in the world. So Tim says 2 more on Ruth. 2 more on Ruth. So don't forget, guys, we love you, and Jesus loves you, and we can't wait to see you again. Take care.